So Shay, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Automation Solution Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Craig.
Great to have you. So I know we were just chatting just a few minutes ago. I connected with you, I don't know how, but I think it was on LinkedIn a year and a half ago when you were still in Wisconsin. And
Yes.
now you're like Miami Beach, living life, having fun, doing really well. So how was that transition? Just curious.
Oh, it was the transition of a lifetime. I had never moved out of my home state before. I was only 26 when I left, but it was just a big change for me. I always knew I wanted to live in Miami. I came down here in high school on spring break with some girlfriends, and I just fell in love with the city. So when I sold my startup up in Milwaukee, I knew it was time to leave the cold. I'm not a cold weather person. God
Right.
bless Wisconsin, but I'm like, I'm moving somewhere warm, somewhere down south. Where can I go? And I started to actually research cities that were prime for startups and for entrepreneurship. And Miami kept coming up. And I was like, well, this is interesting. I
Yeah.
love Miami. And then, I just decided it's time to move down. And it was a lot opened up for me once I moved down here, like a lot. I actually moved down with my ex business partner and boyfriend. We ended up breaking up. I ended up like meeting just a whole community of people I've never met before. Like literally most people in my life I've met within the past year.
Wow.
After
That's
leaving
awesome.
my hometown. Yeah, it opened up a lot of doors for me. It helped me face a lot of things in my childhood I was repressing. It finally all surfaced when I moved down here. And what is better than warm weather all the time?
That
So
is
I'm
true.
just
That is
loving it.
true.
Yeah.
Well, and I want to give you, so for the listeners, just so you kind of have an idea of who's more than likely tuning in,
Yes.
we focus, so it's industrial automation, so it's robotics, working with a lot of manufacturers, and these are big food, beverage, plastic, consumer good folks that brands you would be well aware of and probably consume yourself on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And where we are, I think, with the industry, based off of what I'm hearing from economists, I mean, we're in the middle of this pandemic. It's been awful for so many companies, and we're at this movement now where manufacturing, we have to automate. Like the industry really needs to automate to be competitive. Number one, be able to limit exposure to a pandemic. Obviously, having a lot of people in a small area, it's not safe. And just to be more flexible to be able to work with the consumer demand. So we have this need, and it's validated, it's true, it's out there, and there's companies like RōBEX, who I work for, and we supply robotic solutions for manufacturers. However, right now you can't go see anybody, so you're unable traditionally to sell. You would more likely have a phone call. You might do a webinar. There's some research that's done, but then typically it's out your traditional inside or outside sales, sitting down face to face, the boring PowerPoint. This is what we do. This is why you should pick us. And it's this whole selling cycle that takes a very, very long time. Okay. And so where I think we can get your help, with you being, honestly, I think one of the premier video marketing experts on LinkedIn for businesses, I see when I look at my competitors, even looking at us, our suppliers, the manufacturers on LinkedIn, we all treat this as like just a billboard. It's a place where we just post and we forget about it. And if we get 1 like or 2 likes and maybe a share, we get excited about it. But we don't, as an industry, there's a lot of money, right? A lot of smart people, but we don't know how to execute through video. And so I guess for me, I want to just get your opinion. I think there's a lot of people on the call here that are looking for a way to take their product or service, get it in front of their target market, and to do this in the middle of a pandemic, and they just don't know how. So having you on the call as an expert, this is like so exciting for me.
Awesome.
Tell us what you know.
Yeah, you want me to dive into that,
I
Craig?
want to. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I'll start with a little bit of my background and how I even got good at getting attention online and creating basically just an inbound organic lead stream through my LinkedIn profile. I basically turned my LinkedIn profile into a lead generating machine. How did I do it? Well, I actually started my first digital marketing company when I was 23 out of my bedroom. It was a video licensing company. So I got an opportunity to work for a large page on Facebook that needed video content. This blog owner was young. He was savvy. He was like killing it in passive revenue. I was so enamored with him. I had to work for him. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drop this. I was doing music at the time. I was trying to be an artist. I was like, I'm just gonna drop it all and learn from you. And the beauty was, I ended up getting a lot more clients because the formula he taught me for how to get attention online through video content was easily replicable, right? And all of these
Right.
other pages on Facebook, big pages, like millions of likes, millions of followers, they started contacting me. Hey, I see you're doing these videos. I want these videos. So I literally had a buffet of clients all paying me for video content, but actually I was learning from them. They had already grown a following. They already knew the science behind the news feed, how to get attention, how to monetize. They just needed video. Video
Right.
became more popping in the algorithm. They're like, we need video. So I was really humbled by the experience. I, at my peak, was distributing thousands of viral video clips a month on Facebook, accumulating over 1 billion views a month for all my clients. And I did that for years.
That's awesome.
I scaled it. Yeah, ended up getting an investment, ended up segueing it more into just a standard advertising. Like we started doing media buying campaigns on Facebook for consumer goods. And that led me to LinkedIn. So I got on LinkedIn and started making videos of myself for the first time in years, and just applied all of the principles I had learned on Facebook about the newsfeed. There's a serious, I will say, like divide in people understanding what people actually want to see online. There's a lot
Right.
of ego in these businesses. These businesses on LinkedIn, they post ads. They post ads
Right.
thinking that is content. It's like, that's the opposite of what you want to be doing. Maybe I can count on one hand the amount of times I posted an ad on my LinkedIn, because it's all about providing value. And that's what these Facebook pages taught me. So when I came on LinkedIn, I attracted all this attention because I was one of the only few people on LinkedIn just doing that, just creating interesting content that would draw people in and make them make the decision, right? So it's kind of like
Right.
reverse psychology.
Yeah.
They land on my profile from all the traffic I'm getting. They make the decision like, oh, wow, this woman actually teaches video marketing. Like, well, she got my attention. I think I'm going to reach out and see how I can replicate this for my business. So a lot of what I teach is it's an aha moment for my clients. They've been doing it, not getting results. And then they go through my program and they're like, oh, wow, I never actually thought I could make content like this and get business, because it's not pitching your business. It's not even necessarily always super niche to your industry. It's just what is valuable to the news feed, what's going to attract eyeballs, what's going to get people to stop and say, wow, that person just made my life easier. I want to get to know them a little better. And what can establish you as an authority in your field, which for me was video marketing, which is very easy to do. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, is basically just kind of rewiring that old school programming that a lot of these business owners have about, like, we got to pitch, we're on LinkedIn, we got to pitch, we got to be
Yeah.
forceful. It's like, you got to not be forceful. You got to give. And I have several different formulas I break down for how to do that. And then the business will come to you.
Okay. So I've got to let me back you up, because that's excellent. But there's all these, these are $1 billion companies that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
big brands. So they've got a marketing staff of several dozen, all college educated, taught by
Yeah.
the best professors, the best marketing schools in the States. And you look at their LinkedIn page or even their LinkedIn profile, and everything you just said doesn't apply.
Yeah,
So
it's
why?
because they don't actually know marketing. I mean, I get it. There's some value to be taught in these marketing curriculums at colleges. There's some basic principles, but it's not modern. I was fortunate to live it. I dove into the Facebook community. I was talking to the top blogs on Facebook every day. How are you growing? How are you getting followers? How are you monetizing those
Right.
followers? How do you get video content? What do you do? Like, it's all about doing, right? That's what they always say about, you can go and get a business degree, but how you're really going to learn business is you're going to start a business. And the funny thing is, when I started, I was surprised that more people didn't know about this. I actually thought, when I started doing this video marketing, specifically the viral video and the licensing company I was doing back then, I really thought that within a couple months, like, everyone would know this marketing. I thought it
Right.
would be taught in colleges. I thought it's not the case. Like, things are so behind. And I love what you said about $1 billion companies, marketing staff. It's like, it's just outdated. If you're not relevant and keeping up with what is actually valuable today, what is relevant today, social media, the news feed, growing a following. So you really got to think outside the box. You've got to break out of that shell and really understand that it's not what you've been taught. And I think that is a hard thing for a lot of people to face anyways with their ego. They're like, no, I learned it this way and I want to keep it that way. And that's what I'm actually working on now more. I've actually started, in addition to my program that I sell, I have started coaching entire companies on
Right.
like revamping their marketing division. I just come in, I can, I've trained dozens of editors in my life. I can come in, I can train editors, I can give them the formulas, because these big companies, they can't afford in 2020 to also not be a media company. They have to
Right.
know it. So yeah, I'm just really fortunate that I landed that opportunity at such a young age to learn this marketing, and I get to teach others, and then I get to apply the marketing principles to any business that I create in the future.
Yeah, it's just amazing. In if Here's what I see on LinkedIn now. So the people that have adopted video, at least it goes through my feed, and I've got a fairly healthy following. Have not done anywhere
How many
near as
followers do
well
you
as
have
I
now?
don't know, like 6,000,
Okay,
6,500,
okay.
something like that. So not a ton, not 300 and whatever you're at,
Yeah,
20,000.
I just passed 300,000.
Did you?
Yeah,
Geez, oh,
yeah.
Pete. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But what I see, the video work I see would be either it's looks like entrepreneurs, so people that are in business for themselves, or you could have folks that just like to give motivational messages to businesses. And then the video I see that would what I would call big corporate, or more in line with the people on this call, is more of like a commercial type video that they probably
Yeah.
literally went
It's a
out and
waste of money.
spent
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
15 grand, right? About
Hmm.
here's who we are. We started in 1955, and it goes
Yeah.
through like the whole,
No,
like,
no one gives a shit. Yep.
I know they
Yep.
don't.
They don't.
So I just don't. Here's what I don't understand: how long will it take for people to catch on?
Um, I know, right? I think it is catching on, but I will say it's a common objection, I guess, with prospects is like they hear video content and video production and they think that what you just said, because for so many
Yeah,
years, video production was this big, expensive, okay, we're going to do a whole day event. We're going to get a set. We're going to get lights. We're going to pay for this cinematic, beautiful look. Nobody cares about video quality, the production quality on social media. Like
right,
literally you can shoot on your cell phone. It's the context of the message that's important. And I think this is actually just a reflection of society in general as a whole, the way that we've the place that we've gotten to ourselves to, where it's a lot more about how we look than
right,
what actually gets results. And I see people are still stuck in that mindset. They think they need to spend a bunch of money to have this amazing commercial, and they'll actually usually be really proud of that commercial.
oh
Like,
my gosh,
look
yeah,
at this, it's our history, it's this stuff like that. Look, it can still be valuable, but it's more of like a landing page video, or like something that's just used one time in a different format. That is not what you want to be posting in the news feed, because it's true. Like unless you happen to be hitting your target market at just the perfect exact time where they're looking for your service, yeah, that could work, but that's so rare. So what you want to focus
right,
on is just eyeballs. That's why I always say I do top of funnel marketing. I focus on eyeballs. How can I get a million people to view my page? And
right,
then the whole, building the funnels, the sales process, all of those marketers, that's a dime a dozen. There's few people who really understand top of funnel marketing. How do we just build a following? How do we create loyalty in
yeah,
our audience so that they're coming back for more, so that they refer us, so that they say, hey, this blog is super valuable, you should go follow them. I think people just need to catch up. People get stuck in their ways. They're used to what worked in the past. They don't want to see a difference. Maybe it's their ego. It's a number of things, but it's just beautiful for me when I see like clients getting past that, and they're
yeah, I
like, oh
bet.
my gosh, like this actually works. I just had a client yesterday send me a text. He said, since I did your boot camp, Shay, I've doubled my income on
Wow,
LinkedIn. Yeah, because people just don't know how to make these videos in a way that's actually valuable. And it's so important. Like I said before, it just carries you forward for the rest of your life. You can
yeah.
apply it to all your social media channels. You can use it to promote any business you create. So
Yeah. I still think, and I look at this industry, and I've been in the manufacturing distribution for a decade and a half now, and I still think there's even companies out there that are scared to even be present on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um, and it's weird because I talked to Michaela Alexis, who I think a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago was on the podcast, and
Oh,
she
nice.
specializes in LinkedIn profiles, and she does a phenomenal job. But she tries to help people like, you got to get yourself straight. Who are you? And this is like a networking event, but there's still companies that think that this LinkedIn thing's a fad, and social media is never. I just think those companies are in so much trouble.
Yeah. I
You,
mean, LinkedIn is insanely underutilized. Insanely.
yeah,
And I get it because I was the same way when I first got wind of it. Someone was like, "You should get on LinkedIn to get leads." I'm like, "LinkedIn, like isn't that like a job platform?" Like
right,
I didn't see it either. But once I started experimenting here, I'm like, "Wow, not only is the organic reach super generous because there's not a lot of creators here. So it's kind of like similar to TikTok in that way, where if they only have so much content to pull from, there's a good chance yours is going to show up in the feed. And the other thing is, everyone here has money. Everyone here is in the mindset to do business. Like I've gone to networking events, business events, all women business events, and all these women I talk to, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm really working to like build up my Instagram. I'm really trying to like do these Facebook ads." I'm like, "Are you on LinkedIn?" They're like, "Well, I have a profile." I'm like, "Why?" Like it's just crazy. It's like LinkedIn is where all the people in the mindset to already do business are, and
right,
they're all decision makers. They all have money. So it's a very conscious platform. You don't get as much of that fluff as other social media. You don't get as many trolls. People here are very conscious, and
right.
so not only for the business that you can generate, but just the relationships. That's what LinkedIn is about. This is where you can meet conscious business people to partner with. This is where everyone goes to find vendors, partners, employees, someone to solve their problem. I think that it has been a blessing in a way that more people haven't found out about it
Sure.
because there's less competition for me, and a blessing that I tend to be very young for LinkedIn. And I think because I was young, I got that experience on Facebook. I was able to dial into the viral video world. What does it take to grow a following? And I took that to LinkedIn, and everyone's just like shocked, like, wow, how is this woman doing it? It's like, well, A, there's no competition. B, no one knows video marketing. C, I'm younger, so I kind of already had that edge on social media where I grew up with it more. There's just very few people my age taking advantage. I've turned a lot of my friends onto it, but most of my friends my age, when I tell them about it, they think it's geeky. They think it's weird. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but money is not geeky. Money is not geeky. So I'm gonna hang out on LinkedIn.
No, and it's in tying this back to these big brands, right? These big companies that have this, global brands. They would look at maybe a video that you produce or your students produce, where they'd look at it and say, "Oh, it's a little cheesy. That's a little goofy. It's
Yeah.
silly. It's not something
Uh-huh.
we can't do that, right? Because we have a
Yep.
brand uphold." And so they go about just the normal, daily or weekly posts
Right.
that is no value whatsoever. There's no message. There's no call to action.
Hmm.
Where you're doing these clips, right, and you're doing fairly decent quantity, probably with a formula, asking at the end for some type of action. I'm assuming if you could take a brand, if you were allowed to have like a famous brand, wouldn't that be so much fun for you to try to see
Yes.
what you could do with it on
Oh,
LinkedIn?
absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I go in, I talk to them, I have them
Yeah,
fill out this entire onboarding, what is your business about? What are your goals? But then I take the people within the company and turn them into brand voices for the brand. I love what you said about people being turned off by these videos or
yeah.
feeling
I
like
mean, it's
this is cheesy. I've literally had clients who have like left their job because they started making these videos and it was actually getting results, but their boss was just like so pissed, like they didn't want to see it. It's like, look, facts are facts. Follow the data. If this is working, you got to put your ego aside and ask, okay, this is what the people want, this is
yeah,
what we should be giving the people. And sadly, I see a lot of people in their ego not doing that. But yeah, it's changing.
yeah. It is. So let's. This is very helpful, and my hope is that the listeners really start to take some action and try to think differently, because there is so much demand for automation, and this country needs it, and the manufacturing companies need to know what's available out there. And nobody, besides going to a website right now and maybe getting on some webinars, there's no other way to understand what's even available from a product standpoint. So let's just create a company and have a little fun with this. So let's say we're ABC company or Shea company, and you have this machine that helps package food. So it works in, let's say it'll work in thousands of different food plants, and you've got this cool little machine that does this packaging. How would you go about, if you were this company, you have your LinkedIn page, how would you go about getting information and creating these viral videos? Is there anything you can share for the guests just so they can kind of understand what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's a great example. I haven't had a client yet who does food packaging, so here we go. But that's also what people hire me for, is just ideation, video ideation. How can you come up with content around that that's interesting and fun? Right. So when it comes to packaging food, who are they selling to? What's their
So these people would be selling to big brands like Kraft and
okay.
So big companies.
Okay, cool. So you want to always also be making sure that you're messaging toward those people, but you also just want to do what I say is called casting the net. So if I can cast the net wide, get a lot of eyeballs on my page, that target audience is also inevitably going to hear about me. So I would say for packaging food, making it fun. How can we make they've got like an assembly line, right? Like doing the work. Yeah. They could do something funny, like just having like every employee in a video on a point in the assembly line and piecing it together in a more creative, like funny clip. They could package up, like, let's say that it's seasonal. Let's say that it's like the 4th of July. Right. They could do something funny where they're like packaging up American flags but making it humorous. And I'd have to really dive into this.
This is good. Yeah. So humor.
Yes, humor
is important, right?
Right. Just playing into anything that's going to make people smile and then make people go like, what was that? Who are these people? But the other thing, because there's a million ideas you can come up with around like food and skits and just, making people laugh and showing off your plant and whatnot. But the other thing that's been really successful, which because you've been following me since almost like the beginning, is honestly just being a human. Just getting on camera and talking about your business. So if that business owner is willing to get on camera and talk about the struggles of entrepreneurship, the hardship of what they had to go through to get there, oh my gosh, like you'd be surprised. I get so many leads from videos where I'm just human. I'm not saying anything about how great I am at video marketing. I'm just like, hey, being an entrepreneur is really hard. Sometimes I want to cry in the corner and give up and go get a job. What do I do? It's like people just fly. I've literally gotten so much business from a video just like that, where I admitted I was really stressed out. I was asking for help on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm younger than a lot of you guys. You've been in business. You've owned companies longer than me. What do you do on the days you just feel like giving up? How do you get through it? Psh, viral video. Like tons of people reached out to me. I was just honest. I was just being myself. And I see a lot of these business owners, they think no one's going to do business with them if they're vulnerable. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Yeah. People are craving vulnerability. This world, this stuffy, keep up with the Joneses fakeness has been, it's getting to us. And I think people are finally ready to get real. So I would actually tell that business owner and all the staff, anyone they're willing, again, this is part of what I teach, is like, how can we show up as humans on this platform and just provide value? How can you, every time you get a new employee, do a video like, hey, everyone, this is Fred. It's his first day. Tell us about your transition, Fred. Oh, well, I was working here and I was unfulfilled. I'm so glad I found them. And then having a healthy CTA, not like reach out to us for business, but a healthy call to action at the end. That's like, hey, can anyone relate to Fred where you hated your job and you had to go through a transition and it was tough, but you were so much happier on the other side? What was your experience? Share in the comments below. How many people on LinkedIn can relate to that? I mean, we've all changed jobs. We've all trained. Yeah. So that's the way to pool engagement and build community. And then inevitably people trust you. They like you. They know, they learn more about what you do. And then boom, when they know of a food company that needs some packaging, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I follow this brand on LinkedIn. They're really funny. They do these skits. They include their employees in all their content. So it seems like a really just great, wholesome company. You should reach out to them. So a lot of
Yeah.
my business is also word of mouth, just from the audience I've created, those brand ambassadors that I've created
Right.
through my content. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just can't. I'm in my head. I'm thinking of some companies that I know, and the CEO is, they probably, some of them aren't even on LinkedIn, or if they are, you can't message them. They've got it locked down,
Right.
right? And they don't
Right.
post anything. Could you imagine if they came out and just started talking about what they're going through right now in the middle of a pandemic, and
Yes.
how they feel, but nobody does it because it's not okay, right? They were taught not
I
to
know.
show
Right.
weakness.
Exactly. And it's so silly. Like I've gotten so much business from showing weakness. And yeah, that CEO, you're gonna have to introduce me to some of your friends. Maybe I could help them. But
Yeah.
it's like when you start creating content like this and
Right.
building that audience and getting traction, you can just you should open up your messages because it's going to be inbound. So everything I teach is inbound. I haven't paid for one ad. Everyone just comes inbound, and then I have a sales team on my messenger, funneling through, communicating with all the leads. When people come to you for business, it's a lot easier to sell them than doing outbound and pitching, which has been the norm on LinkedIn in the past. Was everyone
Oh
did like
yeah.
direct outreach campaigns, pitching everyone on the messenger.
Yep.
No one cares. You got to create content, provide value, establish yourself as the authority, and people will come to you, and then boom, get them in the funnel. It's much easier to close them because they've already made the decision that they trust you. They've already
Right.
made the decision. Some people just straight up are like, they just want to buy from me because they like me. It's like
Right.
I don't even think they ever would have before, but they're like, you know what? I just want to give you money, Shay. I'm like, well, fine by me.
Yeah, that's cool. So you feel so, and I'll make sure that people know how to contact you. But a
Yes.
lot you have started off, and you have worked with small business entrepreneurial type startups. Have you worked? And I'm sure you have, and you've worked with larger companies as well. What's the range? Is there any reason why somebody shouldn't do video marketing? Any industry? I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah, no. That's also another objection I get from people is they'll say, well, my industry's not on social media yet. Like, for
Right.
example, I've recently started working with more and more lawyers. That's what a lot of lawyers say. They're just like, oh, social media is not for lawyers. There's no lawyer influencers yet. I'm like, well, that's your opportunity. Like,
Right.
trust me, there will be. There will be. So why not be the first to the scene? Why not forge the way? There's no competition. So I would
Yeah.
say, it really does not matter. There's actually people who are even in B2C who come to me on LinkedIn. Like I had a client, a woman who sells socks, and I helped her with her LinkedIn, and it's transformed. She's like, it's helping her sock business. And then yeah, the larger companies are my favorite to work with because
I
if they
bet.
have the boot camp, a lot of people who buy the boot camp are smaller business owners who just want to
Right.
learn it all themselves. But my favorite to work with is when they have an entire staff because then I can train all of them. If you can have 10, 20, 30 people in your company all creating this content, I mean, gosh, that is
Can't
just
imagine. Yeah.
it is so fun to witness. And yeah, so that's what I've been moving more toward as I automate my boot camp. I have other people under me that have trained under me. A lot of people who went through the boot camp now work for me and are
Yeah.
helping me train other people now. But yeah, that's my new focus now is working with bigger companies, working higher level. How can we take your staff, play into their strengths? And everyone's different. Maybe one staff member wants to make funny videos. Maybe one person is a sales guy and he's got no issue getting on camera. So
Right.
I'll have
Yeah.
a different training for him than the secretary and what she might want to say. But it's turning your staff into personal brands, and all of that funnels back to your business and gets people to know, like, and trust you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, can you do you have a success story maybe that we can kind of close on that would maybe relate a little bit to this industry of a business you've helped that doesn't have to be a big business, but something, we're in a different market where they're not selling maybe services, but it's more of a product related.
It's like insurance technology,
Yeah.
helping businesses, basically getting on LinkedIn, sharing about their what they provide people, and especially if it's anything like HR related, that does
Yeah.
really good on LinkedIn. Um, a lot of accountants, a lot of finance people, lawyers now is the new one. A lot
So you're
of
selling,
marketers.
so it's boring. I mean, honestly, so you are working with people that sell kind of boring products and
Oh yeah.
services, right? So
Oh yeah.
that's where I'm
Absolutely.
going, because really there's not a whole lot that's, I mean, a robot's
Yep.
cool, but it's
Yep.
not the most sexy thing in the world you can sell, right? It does its thing, and so
Yeah. It is
it's
cool
a
though, and with the robots, like you can actually play into that.
yeah,
There's a really big publisher called Cheddar. They're actually huge
yeah,
on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Yeah.
I see them all the time. Yeah,
All they post is tech videos and people are just fascinated by it. I used to license these videos. Like literally I used to give free advertising to tech products if they were like just new enough that no one had seen them and it would be interesting enough to make a viral video out of it. And
yeah,
it like literally was a free ad. They'd be like, you want to distribute my tech product for free across all your platforms? I'm like, yeah, because the audience would find this really valuable. This is great. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. And then I ended up actually getting a lot of clients from that, because in the end they like saw their video go viral. They're like, well, I want to hire you. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, if you have something trending, I've done a lot of like Kickstarter campaigns, for example, with like fun products. One time I raised $20,000 overnight for a Kickstarter campaign called Swoveralls, where it was sweatpant overalls. They actually ended up going on Shark Tank. Super fun, like millennial company.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, there's really no limit. I've worked with tons of different people. A lot of B2B on LinkedIn, B2B mainly on LinkedIn. I
right.
worked in a lot of B2C back when I was on Facebook. Um, but yeah, it's all industries
So
yeah, go ahead.
now, when you say viral, just so the listeners understand, so when a video goes viral, what does that mean? Like, what views are you looking for? What number does that surpass?
Yeah, it's a good question. It depends on the platform. I would say on LinkedIn, anything over like 100,000 views is viral, because
Yeah,
there's
it's a lot of views.
yeah, you don't really see a lot of videos yet on LinkedIn with a million views. That's very rare.
Yeah,
On Facebook, you can find videos with millions of views. So on Facebook, it's more, I mean, I would consider viral on Facebook like 10 million views or more. On LinkedIn, it's like 100,000 because of the just the ratio of users on those
sure,
platforms. But it's just anything uncontrollable. Viral is like, it's funny. Gary Vee actually says like you can't plan to go viral. Like you just post consistently and like it inevitably happens. That's the nature of viral content. It's viral and uncontrollable. I actually disagree with Gary, because I licensed viral videos for so long
right.
that I accumulated so much data on what actually goes viral that I've literally recreated viral videos. I've literally planned like this will go viral. I know it will. Click, publish, and boom. And it's not
Wow.
perfect every time, but yeah,
No,
I have enough data to work with that. And that's also when you mentioned earlier about the food company and the packaging, like what would you do to make them viral? How would you help them thrive? It's like I would actually go back into my arsenal and like research like, okay, what has gone viral? How can I reverse engineer it to apply to this food brand? And I would
right.
do video ideation with them around that.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. All right, so this has been so helpful, Shay. I love it, and I can't thank you enough for giving us your time. I know you're just crazy busy these days. For,
Yes.
for the listeners, though, if they want to get a hold of you and understand, the boot camp, even your one-on-one coaching, corporate coaching, consulting, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Yeah, definitely hit me up for the boot camp. There's testimonials on my LinkedIn. I've helped a lot of people. So you can visit linkedin.com/in/Shay Rowbottom to learn more about, read my recommendations and see everyone that I've helped with the boot camp there. Or you can just go to shayrowbottom.com, and there is a form there to fill out to schedule a call for the boot camp. As far
Okay,
as all the other, then the website is under construction right now, but but there is a form there. As far as everything else, corporate coaching, the full team training,
right.
just message me on LinkedIn. This is a fairly new offer, so I don't have it on my site yet.
Okay,
Um, but yeah, you can reach out there, and then I do also offer agency services. So if
awesome.
you are a company that already has a blog, maybe already has a podcast or content somewhere that can be repurposed for LinkedIn, I do also have a team that will just do it all for you. Run your entire LinkedIn profile, make content, funnel you leads, build your connections, etc. So it's it's if you have the time, but you don't want to pay monthly for agency services, I recommend Bootcamp. if you feel like you don't have the time to go through the boot camp, but you got money to pay every month to just
Yeah,
run your profile, I recommend the agency. So there's a little bit for everyone.
that's great.
And then on top of all of that, random, but I am starting a healing company, a personal development company. Just a lot of what I've gone through. I also have a very, I had a rough upbringing, and it taught me a lot. Business helped me
Right.
face a lot of my own wounds and what I was dealing with. So now I am launching a healing company. And to join that, if you need help, if you need coaching, if you're looking for a life coach or anything, you can visit shayrowbottom.com/heal tribe to get on the wait list to join my monthly subscription healing based community where I do monthly calls, private content, and all of that around getting past your limiting beliefs and ultimately, making more money.
Is this just awesome? Just real quick on the new business. Is it going to be under Shea Bottom brand? Is it going to be a new name to the
It's Shea Bottom Healing is the name
healing?
of the
Okay,
new
so that's going to
company.
be a
So
healing.
I've
Okay,
got Shea Bottom Marketing, and now I've got Shea Bottom Healing, and I'm launching a podcast called The Shea Bottom Show, which will
cool.
be about healing. Yeah, the show is all about healing. It's all about my story, and I will be funneling people to Shea Bottom Healing through that show. But
That's great.
the marketing business is solid, so that will still prevail. And anyone who
Good.
needs help with digital marketing, help with LinkedIn, definitely hit me up. And you can, like I
I
said,
think
there's
we all need help with both, right? We all need healed right about now. We all need
yes.
some business. So
Well, it's so funny. It's so funny you say that because actually a lot of my clients who go through the boot camp, that's their transformation. Like
really,
it's not
yeah,
just like, oh, I learned how to make videos to attract business online. It's like I found myself, like through
yeah,
getting on camera and building confidence and breaking through that limiting belief that you mentioned of like, I can't be vulnerable. I got to be tough.
right.
It's like such a beautiful journey to witness my clients come out of this program, not only with more business and, armed and ready to grow their social media channels, but they love themselves more. They feel more
That's
confident. They
great.
have a voice. Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned that. It kind of is both.
That's good. Well, thank you for what you're doing. I think it's wonderful, and I can't wait to keep watching and see where this whole thing goes. You're obviously off to a fantastic start. So this is a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig. It's
All
been
right,
a
Shay.
pleasure being here.
We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.